My run as an active tagger started in 1996 and it ended in the later part of 1998. And I have to tell you guys, this coincides with a fairly violent period in San Francisco's history. This is the last bit of time before gentrification kicked off and the police were everywhere and a lot of people started moving out and being shipped out of San Francisco. And you were kind of expected to be violent in a lot of situations, especially interpersonal disputes with other teenagers. So given that I tagged during a violent time in the city's history and violence was expected during that time, did I ever fight anybody during my run as a tagger? And thankfully, the answer is no. I've gotten into fights over a bunch of stuff with a bunch of different people. And despite all this other chaos in my life, getting into all these problems, having all these problems with different people, I never had this kind of issue in the graff world. And graffiti functioned for me as a respite from all the other crap I was going through in my life at that time. I made a lot of friends, I got to know a lot of people, I got to explore the city, and I got to get up. And it was a very lovely and a very peaceful thing for me, despite the state that the city was in the late 90s. But that's not to say that I didn't have problems, and I definitely didn't get along with other people that were tagging. And there was a dude that I came to have a lot of problems with, even before I started tagging, that lived in my neighborhood. In the days since we had problems, this dude's been through a lot of foul stuff, so I'm not going to speak on his name. But we stayed having problems almost from the moment that we met. And when both of us became taggers in 1996, these problems continued. But despite the fact that we had problems, this dude never wanted to fight me himself, but he always wanted to get somebody else to jump in the mix and swing on me. And one day I got off the bus on 30th and Mission and I saw this dude along with another rider named List. And List was mean mugging me pretty heavily, and he walked up to me and he said, "Hey, what's up? I heard you gave me the finger the other day when you were on the 24. And I was pretty surprised by this, and I asked the dude, "What the hell are you talking about? I don't even remember seeing you on the 24 in the last week." And he told me, "Nah, I wasn't on the bus, I was on the street, but you were on the bus, and you gave me the finger like this, kind of sideways out the bus window." And I told him, I was like, "Nah, dude, I didn't do that to you. If I wanted to give you the finger, I would just give it to you in your face, just like this." And he was kind of caught off guard by that. Maybe he was expecting me to back down. Maybe he was expecting me to try to plead it out and act like I didn't want to get down. And despite being a guy that was trying to be peaceful at that time, that was trying to avoid these kind of conflicts, if you just got me pissed off enough, I was going to swing on you. Maybe he knew that, or maybe he knew that this other dude was just pumping us up to fight because me and this other dude had a problem. But after a couple of minutes of jaw-jacking, the guy did nothing, and I just walked home. And ultimately, this is the closest I've ever gotten to fighting over graff. But you can't really even say it was fighting over graff. Me and this dude never went over each other, we never crossed each other out. And if we had a problem, it was because his friend had a problem with me already. That was in 8th grade, and for the majority of the time that I tagged after that, I never had one of these issues ever again. And with the exception of getting snaked for a marker maybe a year later, graffiti remained a very peaceful thing for me. And it stayed that outlet that I needed in my life to go out there, express myself, meet people, make new friends, explore the city, and just live that life of a San Francisco bus hopper. And even if I was a peaceful writer and I wasn't looking for problems and I didn't want to slug anybody, that's not to say people didn't get slugged in San Francisco's graffiti scene. But at the end of the day, I feel like all of us writers need to be united because there's a whole outside world that would love to slug us as well.